Hey everybody, it's Cass and Court TV. It's your girl, Miss Public Info, here with the latest and greatest and sometimes hated updates of your most high-profile cases going on around the nation. Now, we're going to talk about the Louisiana Medicaid millionaire. Medicaid millionaire kind of has a nice ring to it. Her actual given name is Miss Candace Taylor. She's 35 years old. The U.S. Attorney's Office, or the Attorney General there in the state of Louisiana, is dubbing her, or has dubbed her, the Louisiana Medicaid millionaire. Now, this woman, she bought a Lambo and several other vehicles, all kinds of things going on. She's had she has owned six businesses that are totaling around $8.5 million in revenue between the years of 2021 and 2024. She also was coming up with accounts revealed deposits of $460,000, with over $325,000 directly attributed to her businesses. That means her businesses are making year over year around $325,000. She also had transfer payments totaling up to $45,000 going to car payments to Audi. And you might be saying, well, what's the news here? Because that sounds like a very successful woman. She is. She is. But the news is that Candace Taylor of Sidale, Louisiana, also, AKA the Medicaid millionaire, was lying and is facing fraud charges now because she was lying on her Medicaid application about her finances and about the number of dependents she had in order to qualify for Medicaid. Now, we all know what Medicaid is. Medicaid is a state supported medical insurance for those who cannot afford, for lower income people who cannot afford medical insurance on their own. These are people who may be unemployed. These are people who may have a number of dependents. These are people who are also receiving disability. These are also people who are just facing hard times in general. They probably are also receiving SNAP, aka food stamps. These are also people who are probably or may be receiving general relief because they just can't afford to their income cannot supplement their just the basic needs of their lifestyle, being able to pay rent, being able to eat, things of that nature. But Candace Taylor, who is also known to the public assistance, the health department, as Candace Sailor, that is her little her other AKA name, Candace Sailor, or should I say, this is her alias. She had applied originally for these benefits in 2019. And in 2019, she reported that she was making a bi-weekly a salary of $1,900 and that she had no dependents. Now, she was denied. Okay. Now, those of you who have ever applied for public assistance, or who have experienced this, or know other people who have applied for public assistance, have tried to help them, people that you know, people in your family or whatnot, or even worked in the legal field and know a little bit about public assistance, then you know that the government gets in your business. They want to know how much money you're making. They want to know all areas or all income streams that you may have, including child support, including retirement, including social security benefits, or anything of that nature. So trying to hide anything from the government, and in this particular case, the health department, who's sort of qualifying Miss Taylor for these benefits, is not a good look. She was found out because the government, the health department there in Louisiana, blew the whistle on her to the Attorney General's office. And she's being charged for fraud from the years of 2021 through 2023. Now, after she was initially denied in 2019, less than a year later, so later that year, she reapplied under the same alias, but she lied about all the things that her income, the dependents, the number of dependents would switch from up to down and around. They said that she was just lying so that she could receive these health care benefits. She owns six different businesses that earned more than, excuse me, $9.5 million between the years of January 2020 and December 2024. She also bought a Lamborghini. um, this is somebody, Candace Taylor is known in the city of Slidell in the state of Louisiana as somebody who drives a Lamborghini. And again, her accounts were totaling to almost a $500,000 in and out. Money's going in and out. And these were apparently legit businesses. They don't say what kind of businesses that she was running. In this particular source that I'm utilizing today, but they say that she was making bank. And with that, she was still looking to take advantage of social services. Now, other purchases that she had included a $100,000 wire transfer to Tactical Fleet, which is an exotic car dealership, followed by a $13,000 debit card transaction for the purchase of this 2022 Lamborghini Urus, the authorities said. They said that she makes multiple six-figure withdrawals via cashier's checks, which allegedly funded property purchases, cosmetic surgeries, and high-end jewelry and luxury services. So she living like she not even ghetto fabulous. Like I would call this like definitely hypergamy. Like she is luxurious, honey. She is out here living her best life, living her best millionaire life. If you are legitimately making $9 million over the course of 2 to 3 years, this is how you live. You know what I mean? She's making the property purchases, she's making the car purchases, she's doing the cosmetic surgery, she in snatch, she doing everything she can, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. She's making the money legitimately, all of that. The government's not mad at that. The government is mad though because they say, Miss Candace Taylor, you are lying about your income so that you can get free Medicare. Now, listen, I know that health insurance is through the roof. I know that it is expensive to make sure that your health is in check. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the one. I'm at the doctor's annually. I get an annual blood panel. I do the whole the woman checkup. I do my biannual mammogram. I do all those things. You know what I'm saying? But we have to do what we have to do legitimately. You can't cheat. You can't cheat. Now, here's my soapbox. When you cheat the government in this way, you're not just cheating the government. You're cheating your mom. You're cheating your dad. You're cheating your sister. You're cheating the next door neighbor. You're cheating your cousins. You're cheating everybody because every one of us pays taxes either by sales tax or something to that matter, right? Even if you don't file taxes, which you're also supposed to do. But even if you don't do that, you're still paying taxes on sales tax. You're paying taxes in some sort of way. So the taxpayers are the ones that are footing the bill for Medicaid, for public assistance. And so when you cheat the government or you cheat the system, you're also cheating the people that you know. You're cheating the people that you know. You're cheating everybody who basically contributes to the pot here, which is all of us, right? So it's just not about like, oh, it's the government. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. But you're cheating everyone because someone has to foot the bill. And what do we know about when the bill has to be footed? That about what do we know about that? We know that when the bill has to be footed, that it is the public and it is the taxpayers that usually foots the bill for any and all of those things, right? So, Miss Taylor, you are out of line, honey. This is not okay, and you should not be doing this. During my time at the district attorney's office, I actually witnessed a lot of fraud cases like this, especially in high income neighborhoods. These were neighborhoods where people had homes totaling a million plus, but they were actually collecting, this one particular case, they were collecting over $500,000 in public assistance, and it was a fraud case, and they were illegally sort of collecting unemployment checks, and illegally collecting disability checks and things of that nature, lying in order to be able to receive these monies. Now, Candace may have thought, well, it's just, medical insurance. It's not like, I'm actually receiving funds from the government. I have money, but the medical insurance is not something I'm willing to pay for whatever her reasons were. It doesn't say that what if she had some sort of health issue that she was, basically supplementing this fraud for, that she needed to get these things taken care of, that it was so expensive out of pocket that she needed to fraud for that reason. It doesn't say why. But regardless of why, it just isn't like good, and it isn't necessary. Now you're going to be facing some prison time because this is a federal thing. This is a federal charge, and it's the government doesn't really like when you fraud them. You know what I'm saying? Like, this just isn't a good thing. Um, 2 months after she purchased the Lamborghini, guys, she tried to renew her Medicaid benefits, claiming she had only made $4,000 per month with an unidentified business. However, she omitted that she was the actual owner of the business. Investigators also saw Taylor flaunting her lifestyle on social media, the attorney general's office said. Now, how crazy can you be where you're going to just actually, I'm going to defraud the government, I'm going to do all of this, but I'm also going to just flaunt to everybody that, I get my surgeries done. I'm going to Montenegro for or Montego. What am I trying to say? Montenegro is what I'm trying to say. For vacation, I'm going to Europe. I'm going here. I'm, buying a Lamborghini. I'm buying a whatever kind of house. I mean, like, if you're going to be doing that, if you're going to be actually flaunting your wealth around, please don't try to fraud the government at this time. And I also think that there is a thing where people like feel like it's going to take the government a long time to figure it out. Now that might be true because it kind of does. It takes some time for the sort of wheels to turn on it. But once the wheels start turning on it, believe me, guys, you're going to be in bad shape. This is very similar to the situation with the PPP loans after COVID, and everyone, or during COVID rather, and then after COVID, people started getting, they started getting clinked up, hooked up, and going to Fed prison for fraud because they had applied for this PPP loan that they know that they did not qualify for. They didn't have any businesses, they didn't have any employees or anything like that, but they were basically getting, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just to supplement their income. People were, buying big ticket items and doing all these things. This reminds me, I always recall this movie because this movie actually like just has so many life lessons in it, even though it's a crime movie. But this reminds me of Goodfellas when Tom Conaway, Bob De Niro's character, they do the Lufthansa heist. And after they do the Lufthansa heist, he tells all of the guys that are in the crime family, like, don't be going around buying big ticket items, because you're going to basically tip off the police, you know what I mean? And so then, everybody's happy. It's Christmas. They come to the social club, and Tom is like there, and he's, not Tommy. I got the name mixed up, but it's okay. Bob De Niro's character. Tommy is what you call its character, Joe Pesci's character. But anyway, they come into the social club. If you've seen Goodfellas, you know what I'm talking about. Tim Conaway, I believe is his name. And he comes in, they come into the social club. and the guy's wife comes and she's wearing a fur. They bought a Cadillac and he's like, "Oh, I love that car. I bought it for my mother-in-law, and oh, this fur." And Bob De Niro's character goes berserk. He's like, "Take this off right now. I told you not to buy anything. I told you not to do." And this situation reminds me of that. This completely reminds me of that. This reminds me of the whole Goodfellas thing. Like, if you're going to steal, if you're going to be, a criminal that frauds people, that goes around lying about what they have, don't go on social media. Don't go on the floss tour where you're, sort of, "Oh, I got this, I got that, I got this," it's just very just stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid to commit this crime to begin with, but it's really stupid to commit it and then not be somewhat smart about it, that at least you know not to go around flaunting on social media about what you have and what you're doing and that you bought a Lamborghini. Come on. I mean, the paper trail on this thing and itself would scare me away from it, besides the fact that I would not do it. But if I were interested in something like that, the paper trail on this thing would scare the bejeebies out of me. I would never want to even get caught up in anything like this. This is really crazy, really crazy. And she's a young woman, 35 years old. She, the sentencing range for fraud for the government can really reach up into the 20s to the double digits on this thing, depending on, if you're a first time offender, or how egregious the crime is, or depending on just how the judge likes or doesn't like you. You know what I mean? Like, this thing is dangerous. It's just crazy. Like, you own six different businesses. How do you have the time to even apply for Medicaid, right? It's just crazy, because let's just say you're a business owner. So you have the savviness and the brain with and the intelligence, rather, to own these businesses, to operate these businesses that total up to $9 million in revenue, and yet you think it's a good idea to fraudulently apply and receive Medicaid. Now, on the flip side of that, people can make the argument, well, this should show you how crazy our medical insurance is, that she is a millionaire, essentially, and that she too can't afford medical procedures and things of that nature, that the insurance is even too high for her. Somebody could make that argument. I don't know if they have, but they could say that based upon what we saw with, Mangione and some of the other things going on, that these insurance and these health insurance companies are just like, it's a racket, and they're just completely robbing people blind. And maybe she's just one of those people where she just felt like, look, I'm not doing it. I guess I make $9 million, but I'm going to go ahead and apply for these Medicaid benefits because the insurance is just too high. I'm not doing that. And maybe that was her whole thing. We haven't heard from Miss Taylor or her representation on that. This is just, hitting the news blotter, but I just find it crazy, crazy, crazy. I have no idea why she would want to do this. It just makes no sense to me. But uh I don't know. I don't know what to say, guys. All I can say is don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's just not good. It's not good. It's just not good at all. Obviously, people have their own, theories about the Medicaid system and how it's broken, and how, it's basically a racket in defrauding the public and the people who pay into it, which are the people who are residents of that said state. But regardless, I just do not think that this is a good idea. I would not want to be involved in any of those things. And to the fact of the PPP loans, I wonder if some of these businesses that Miss Taylor has, totaling of 9 million and upwards, have anything to do with that. Because if she made any fraudulent claims on these PPP loans, if she's a part of any of those things, she can be looking up to way more time than she's looking at just on this Medicaid fraud case. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And we'll keep you posted on that. Now let's get into this Shannon Sharp supposed $20 million lawsuit. Now you guys got to know, besides the fact that yes, I'm a Shannon Sharp fan. I say it every time I talk to him about him, but this lawsuit is a nothing burger. I can tell you that now before I even get into it. The Shannon this new Shannon Sharp lawsuit pertaining to one Miss Jamalita Tillman is a nothing burger. But let's get into it anyway. Now, Shannon Sharp is being sued. Shannon Sharp and OchoCinco. Okay. Let me not leave that Chad out of this. So, Shannon Sharp and Chad, OchoCinco Johnson, are being sued by a woman named Jamalita Tillman, and also the podcast production company, which is Shay Shay Media. So those three entities are being sued by Miss Jamalita because a video of her went viral at a Usher concert where she's having some sort of uh, performance, intimate performance interaction with Usher. Now, of course, everyone knows that the Nightcap podcast, which is the podcast that Shannon Sharp has with Chad Ochocinco, talks about topics of the day. They talk about all sorts of things. I think it's hilarious, hilarious podcast. I love the podcast. I also love Chad Ochocinco. He's very funny. I've always been entertained by him. He's hilarious. And most of the time, he's trying to sort of keep Unc in line because Shannon be getting out of line sometimes on this podcast. But what the woman is claiming is that she claims that Chad and Shannon knowingly propagated false narratives about her marital status, is what she's saying. She's saying that she participated in a fan engagement moment at the Usher Raymond concert, which I believe this one was in Vegas. I'm not sure, but I think it was. And that she was selected as part of being the audience member, that the interaction went viral after fans noted that there was like an intense interaction between her and Usher, which is obviously staged for his performance reasons. But then following the event, she says that Chad and Shannon made and disseminated false and defamatory statements suggesting that she was married and that her husband was filing for divorce due to her participation in this audience experience. And then she goes on to say that she's not married and that she says, I'm sorry, she said that she's not married, nor is she currently going through a divorce. She went on to say that I was not married at the time of the fan participation moment or during the Usher concert. And then she says that their false narratives were shared widely across their platforms, reaching millions of followers. The viral spread and her refutation her effort to refute what was happening, what they were saying rather. And despite her clear and public reputation of the false narrative, these things sort of went crazy and that it ruined her reputation. She is a global director for the Harold Washington Cultural Center. She said she even went on national television media shows to refute the allegations that Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco made that she was a married woman. She says that despite that, that they continue to post the defamatory content across social media platforms. She says she made numerous efforts to contact them to request the removal of the false narratives, but that these requests were disregarded. She says she's a single mother and that this has caused significant harm to her character and reputation. She went on to say in this lawsuit filing that their continued dissemination, meaning Chad and Shannon's dissemination of these false statements after she publicly clarified that her marital status, what her marital status was, demonstrates a reckless regard for the truth. She further alleged that ongoing misinformation has resulted in emotional distress for her, damaged her reputation adversely, and has affected her personal and professional relationships. She says that she says, I'm sorry, she's previously homeschooled her daughter. She received her doctorate while she was a teenager, she says. She's seeking the $20 million in damages. She's and Shannon's folks have been reached out to, OchoCinco's folks have been reached out to, but it hasn't come up. It hasn't made any fruitful conversation as it relates to getting a statement from them on this. Um, she went on to say that she's been in communication with the legal team, Shay Media, who's also representing Shannon Sharp, and they're looking to resolve this matter quickly, and that she says that we will probably have more to share up on our next conversation. And of course, this comes on the heels of Shannon sort of doing uh, resolving this $50 million suit, sexual assault suit against a former girlfriend had against him. Of course, we covered that yesterday. And so this is kind of like a very interestingly timed lawsuit here. I think that is it on Miss Jamalita. Jamalita, that's her name, Jamalita. Now, it's Jamalita, Miss Jamalita. Now, she doesn't mention that she has an attorney. She's speaking for herself, and it's probably because an attorney would tell her this is a nothing burger. Miss Gemelita, you put yourself in harm's way to be looked at, to be talked about, for people to make their own conclusions as to what your life is about. It's the same way that I put myself in quote unquote harm's way by doing Cast in Court TV. People can repurpose my videos, my episodes any way that they like. They shouldn't, because I'm not doing anything to defame myself. But they could, if I was doing something on here that was potentially defamatory to my own name. Now, I would make the argument that Miss Jamalita defamed herself to some degree, because whether she was married or not, she knows that Usher is married, though that he is a entertainer, and she is having an intimate experience with him. Well, we put the link to the article in the description box, but when you look at the photo and at the footage of Miss Jamalita and Usher together, this is very sort of textbook for an Usher concert these days. Usher's very sensual. We all saw the interaction between he and Keke Palmer, which got her in a little bit of a kerfuffle with her man at the time. But this is kind of what it is. And so, since you know that, and those moments went viral, then you, as an audience member going to an Usher concert, and you get picked as an audience member, you are fully aware that this could be a potentially viral moment, because this has happened for other women at other concerts that he's had. Now, why this concert? Why, right? Why this time? Why this woman? To me, this is a money grab. And this is a money grab because Miss Jamalita put herself in the position to be judged in a certain way. The Shay Media production company, or the Nightcap broadcast, they talk about everything. They talk about everything. Now, you are violating his First Amendment right, or their First Amendment right, if you say that they can't talk about the interaction. It is a public video that went viral. They have a right to talk about it. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about, which includes the fact that you were out here having some sort of intimate interaction with uh you know with Usher Raymond. Okay, that isn't their fault. Now it isn't their fault that you were out there doing that, and they came to the conclusion that if you are married, that you're probably in trouble with your husband. These are things that have happened in other viral videos. We've learned previously that other people had issues with their relationship as it related to the video coming out, and that other men did not appreciate their wives actually, or girlfriends actually, having this interaction with Usher. Gabrielle Union famously sort of was like, get away, when he came towards her during the concert that she went to. And of course, she's married and has children, shares children with Dwayne Wade. And so that if you are afraid, or if you're of such great importance to the point where, oh my gosh, this could ruin my reputation, then you should have thought about that before you had this very intimate interaction with Usher at this concert. There were cameras everywhere. Of course someone was going to catch it. This is very similar to the Coldplay concert where the two astronomy executives got caught up, the CEO and the chief people human resource officer got caught cupcaking on camera, and they each destroyed their marriages. Are they, should they be blaming Chris Martin? Should they be blaming any of the media outlets that talk about what happened to them? No, because it's public. It's for public viewing. It's for public viewing. And it is the First Amendment right of the press to report on whatever is interesting, topics of interest. And this was apparently a topic of interest with these people at the Coldplay concert. I still don't know why, but it was. It was a topic of interest. People like things like this. So it's the same thing. She went into that concert knowing that people often pay attention to, the press is always, the social media blogs especially are always paying attention to Usher concerts. They know what's going on at those concerts because they're trying to watch to see if something juicy is going to happen because he's always doing something, right? And if I were married or had a serious significant other, I would have just said no, thank you. I don't want to, or if I was afraid of my interpretation and my reputation, which was in her case because she's not married, she says. But if I was afraid of my reputation being ruined by this interaction or someone talking about it, then I would be like, oh, no, no, thank you. Because as it stands right now, you're trying to blame Shay Shay Media and the Nightcap group, Shannon and Chad, because you're saying that they made speculation that you were married. So, okay, they made the speculation. They can make that speculation. They don't know you personally. They're not saying, oh, we talked to the husband and the husband said X, Y, and Z. You know, they never said that, this woman is a WHORE. They basically are saying you put yourself in this position if you're married. If and maybe they did say she's married, she's doing this, that, and the third. Now I have a problem with that as it relates to her. If you're not married, then how did it cause harm to you personally? You're claiming that they said you were married and that the fact that they said that you were married caused reputational harm to you. But if you're not indeed married, then where is the reputational harm? I'm not seeing the connection. Are you saying because, you know, professionally their comments made you look bad? Well, is it their comments that made you look bad, or is it the actual action that you made that made you look bad? Because, excuse me, ma'am, before Chad and Shannon got on your talk can, something I use all the time, but before you came to their attention, your viral video with Usher had already gone viral. Your video with Usher had already gone viral. They simply commented on it. People comment on a lot of things. When you put yourself out there in a public forum, you put yourself at risk for public comment. And that's what happens. People are not allowed to harass you. People are not allowed to threaten you. People are not allowed to disparage your name in the sense that you have a company or that you disparage you in disparaging remarks that could actually harm you, the way you make money, which she is not claiming. She states what her profession is and where she works, but nowhere in the filing does it say that it caused her professional harm. It just says that it caused her reputational harm. Well, what type of reputation? You don't say you don't indicate that it's professional. So professionally, you're doing fine. What do I think is going on? I think that this is a case of regret me Monday. That's what I think it is. I think it's a case of regret me Monday. I think she was embarrassed. I think that after this whole thing went viral, she was embarrassed probably by the initial attention that she was receiving from the video, from the blogs in general. But then, for it to go a step further and for Shannon Sharp and Chad OchoCinco to talk about this, then it went even further, more further than she wanted it to go. And I think that she was embarrassed, is what I think. I think that she was embarrassed by it. I think she's regretful for doing it. I think that it portrayed her in a light in which she did not want to be seen. And I think that the issue here is not with Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, but the issue here is that her little moment with Usher went viral, and it was big enough for people like Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharp to pick up on it and make speculations about her based on that video, which they can do. Freedom of the press. They can speculate. Now, if you wanted them to stop doing it, you calling them and doing all these things is not the way to go. Simply send a legal cease and desist letter based upon the facts that you've laid out in this lawsuit. I'm not married. I'm not this. These things are wrong. But if you're sending an email coming from Gemalita Tillman to Shannon Sharp and to Chad Ochocinco and to their media group, that's not going to really move the needle because it's just not. You want people to take you seriously about it, you need to send a cease and desist letter to them. Now, and I'm talking about through an attorney, not through you, because I noticed that what she's telling media outlets is that she's not really talking, she's not utilizing an attorney. She's acting as her own attorney. It seems that she's doing all the talking herself and that she's talking to Shay Media's attorneys herself, looking for a payday. Now, not to put Usher into the fray or into any of the mix of it or anything like that, but if you're going to sue Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, why are you not suing Usher? He pulled you out of the audience. He made the moment happen. Oh, I know why. Because you had to agree to it. You had to agree to be in that video, to be in that moment. You wanted to be seen. You were seen. You wanted the attention at the time. You got the attention, but you got the attention you didn't want. And now you're sitting in the middle of a regretful Monday. Oh, well, this to me is a nothing burger. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. She claims that she's in talks with the Shay Media people and that, there'll be more updates and they're ready to resolve this quickly or whatnot. The resolution is not going to look how you think it's going to look because I do not think that you're warranted any damages, Miss Tillman. None whatsoever. So that's the name of that tune. Like, I just really do not think that this woman is due any damages because any harm that's been done to her, she's caused it on her own. She's caused it on her own. She was at the Las Vegas Usher concert, I believe it was Vegas, and she's out here having the time of her life, doing the auntie thing. That's what she's doing. She having an auntie vacation. That's what she's doing. If you're going to have an auntie vacation, you need to commit fully and be ready for the consequences thereof. All right, guys, we'll be back shortly with the Friday roundup. Thanks so much, and we'll check you soon. Talk soon.